The following is a presentation of the Belly Up Sports Media Network.
You're listening to the Sports Scramble podcast, where four friends serve up a weekly plate of sports with a side of SEC bias. Now, here are your hosts, Chet, Jacob, Wade, and Tyler.
What is going on, everybody? Welcome to this week's episode of the Sports Scramble podcast, brought to you by Belly Up Sports. It's a Monday. We've changed our recording days. We're recording on Monday, and it's a good thing we did because the free agency ticker today was just out of this world. I think our new thing is going to be recording on Mondays, uploading on Wednesdays. So to all you loyal listeners that listen to us on Tuesday mornings on your way to work, we appreciate it. Just push it back a day. We want to bring you the most up-to-date news. So we're going to start doing it on Monday. But Wade and zoomed in Tyler, how are y'all doing? We're watching on YouTube. You can see Tyler's camera is just strobing.
I have no idea what's going on. I got like a strobe effect going on right here. It just keeps flashing in green. And so I guess just what the chaos is happening of the free agency period in the NFL.
Well, and it's probably hate you because y'all have been talking for the past 3 hours on March Madness. If you didn't catch the SEC Talk live show where they broke down their brackets, go check it out on our YouTube channel. And while you're over there, drop a subscribe on the Sports Scramble Podcast YouTube channel. We'll jump right into it. We're just talking about brackets. Tyler and Wade just broke down the brackets, all the picks. If you want to hear the in-depth analysis and how you're going to win some money, you got to go watch SEC Talk. We're going to give you our Final Four and our winner. Yes, the summary. Thank you, Wade. So, Tyler, did you watch the selection show last night?
I did not. I was actually working last night.
You were watching the Pelicans blow out the Trailblazers. They beat them by like 30.
Yeah, they were up by like 36 at one point. So definitely a good bounce back from Saturday's game against the Thunder. Didn't look good on Saturday, but a big game tomorrow against the Lakers as they try to continue their playoff push.
Yeah, I mean, Trey Murphy dropped, 41 points?
Call him Trigger Trey for nothing.
Exactly. That was crazy. And then, the Lakers, that's going to be a good matchup. D'Lo seemed to have found his spot back at his team.
Yeah.
They're rolling. Is it at home on Tuesday?
Yeah, it is at home. I don't think that LeBron will be playing. He's been dealing with an injury, but even without him, the Lakers have been pretty consistent. I know that they just lost to the Knicks, but it should be a very tough matchup for both teams.
Well, Wade will be in New Orleans. You'll be in New Orleans. Maybe y'all ought to go in there and intimidate LeBron into suiting up with the people
I've seen LeBron play before in person, and honestly, it was kind of lackluster because my uncle was like, "Hey, I'll let you $5 that LeBron doesn't score 20 points." And I was in I don't know, maybe 10th grade at this point. Obviously not sports gambling like we do now. And LeBron scored like 16 points. I'm like, come on, man. Like, you can't drop 20 for me.
And the LeBron for Wade continues.
Yes. Wade, he always takes the under in this time, or he always takes the over. This time he should have taken the under.
Life's too short to bet the under.
Yes. Always bet the under. Let's get into the college basketball. I know y'all just did your show, so I'll start it off first. Give you a break from doing all this basketball talk. Let me pull up my bracket. I've done 2 of them. I think I'm going to pick the one I like the most. So I got a few wild cards in here. You know, I got a few upsets. I've got Furman taking down Virginia in the first round. It seemed like a good upset for me. And then let's see if I've got any other ones. Providence taking down Kentucky because my boy over on Twitter at Mikey Over, he's a big Providence guy and he's won me some money this year. So rolling with him. Let's see if there's any other big upsets on here I want to mention. I don't see any. So let's get on down. You know, they play each other. They have fun. They make it to the Final Four in Houston. Here's who I've got in my Final Four. I've got Arizona taking on Tennessee and Houston taking on Kansas. And out of those two, I have the hometown Cougars, Houston taking down the Kansas Jayhawks, and meeting Arizona in the national championship, and Houston cutting down the Nets, winning 72-70 on a buzzer beater to win the game.
Hometown heroes.
All right.
Exactly.
Like
exactly.
It.
So that's who I'm picking. I'm picking Houston. Wade, who do you got? Who's your Final Four and who's your national champion?
All right, Final Four is a little bit interesting. As Tyler and I just broke it down, I do have Alabama making it to the Final Four. I'm blocking out the noise there. They just look like a really complete team. Nothing on the court is really scaring us. It's the off the court stuff, but they seem to have swept it under the rug.
If you're off the court going up against Alabama. That's all I got to say.
It doesn't matter, I guess.
As they're referred to on Twitter as Murder Inc. You better watch out. So murder in the courts.
It seems to me that it won't stop them until the very end. I can't have them go all the way. I think justice will come down on them. Then on the other side, I think Texas is a team that Tyler and I are both high on making a run over Houston, who you just mentioned. And then in the West, I absolutely love UCLA. They're a team that I've been telling y'all about for the last 3 or 4 weeks. So I got them, put my money where my mouth is, UCLA making it to the Final Four. And then my surprise team, all right, Kansas State making it all the way to the Final Four as a 3 seed.
State.
Not Kansas, Kansas State.
I like it.
So, and that they would play Alabama just like they did in football. Tyler and I were talking about that because SEC talk is usually a football.
It didn't go well.
It did not go well.
And anyways, I think Alabama does beat Kansas State, but on the other side, I got to go with UCLA over Texas narrowly. And then I'm going to go UCLA taking the cake overall. Another, just a team I've been high on all year. Veteran bunch. I think they get it done. West Coast fever, man.
I have them winning in my second bracket. I made UCLA, so I like that pick.
So
I almost
if Houston, doesn't go up for you, you have UCLA as your backup.
I do need to make a bracket with Miami winning. That seems to be the theme of all of my brackets this year, and that'll be the first one to be busted. Tyler, who you got in your Final Four and your winner?
Well, I also want to do what you did, go up through some of my notable upsets. I did have a couple of them. Like you, I had Furman beating Virginia. I just don't really have faith in Virginia. I mean, they're a pretty good defensive team, but they are not that great of offense. I feel like whoever scores 50 that game will probably win. I also have Kent State taking down Indiana. That I really like that team from the MAC. They put up 90 against Toledo. Toledo was going to be one of my picks to go for, but since Kent State got that. And then I also have Purdue losing in the second round to Memphis. I have Memphis. I thought about doing the same for Arkansas and Kansas, but Kansas has the experience. So that's pretty much my main upsets. I also had VCU over St. Mary's as well. So I wanted some chaos this year. I'm tired of the chalk picks every year that I do. So my Final Four, I do have Alabama. I know that for weeks I've told you that they're frauds, but this team has changed my mind. They run the table in the SEC tournament. They look good. Like all their matchups were not close. They blew everybody out, including Texas A&M, a team that I really love, but they got a bad draw. But I have them facing off against a red-hot team from the ACC. I have the 5 seed Duke. Blue Devils are going to go back to the Final Four.
Okay,
I also have the Longhorns. It was very tough. It pained me not to have Houston in Houston, but Texas is a really hot team right now. So I think that Texas is going to get the job done. I do think it's going to be a pretty chalky region in that one. And then finally, I have UConn, the 4 seed, coming out of the Kansas region, if you want to call it. But in the end, I do have Alabama and Texas meeting in the national championship. And really, the home court advantage was the really deciding fact of it. That stadium is going to be sold out, and it's going to be 80-20 burnt orange. And Texas have them winning and redeeming their football team. The football team couldn't do it, so the hoops team will get it done. Texas.
I was about to say, I bet Texas would like to see Texas versus Alabama in the national championship in football, but I don't think it'll be the same outcome that you just mentioned.
That's not happening for some time.
No.
So some notable one team I saw that did not make the bracket was North Carolina. First time in I think it said 23 years. Don't quote me on that. It's first time they're not in it. And one team that's going to be when I fill out my Cinderella bracket, Cinderella story here. Kennesaw State
Yes.
Okay? 2 years ago, maybe 2 or 3, they were 1-28. 1-28, okay? Last year, they went like 18-12 or something.
That's a pretty
Respectable,
big jump.
respectable. The Kennesaw State newspaper listed out the sports of the school 2 years ago and didn't even list basketball as a sport at the school. That's how terrible they were. This
They
year,
picked Xavier, right?
let me check. This year, 21-8. And they made the automatic bid in the tournament, winning their conference. Let me see who they play. I think it is.
I'm pretty sure it is.
I think they jumped conferences. I think they're in the Atlantic Sun now.
Yeah, they are.
They play Xavier game 1, so they're slated with the 3 seed. They're a 14 seed.
Yeah, if that was a 14-3, that would probably be the more likely. That and UC Santa Barbara versus Baylor.
Yeah, so we'll see. Maybe Kennesaw State can have some magic going and get it rocking and rolling. And be cutting down the nets in Houston. I'm putting them in as a Cinderella bracket. I do one every year. So
and I got to give some love to College of Charleston as my Cinderella team. I have the 2 South Carolina mid-majors meeting in the second round between Furman and College of Charleston. My parents both graduated
Look at all
from
of us
College
on Furman.
So
yeah.
Furman, they could get it done. College of Charleston, they could get it done, but I have them both getting sledgehammered by Alabama.
There you go.
Right.
Another interesting. A lot of people around the country felt that Texas A&M should have been higher than a 7 seed, but let's be real, guys. This isn't entertainment value. This whole thing is done for entertainment. You know that they wanted to somehow, if both teams win, they wanted Texas playing Texas A&M in the second round.
That's a
That is
very bad draw
probably
for them, though. I mean, they
It's a
get Penn
tough
State in the
draw.
first round.
yeah, but it's for the entertainment value of it. I mean, they wanted that's probably going to be one of the most watched games of the tournament.
That's
I
true.
think it was karma because they got those rings for making like the final 20 in baseball.
I think when they made it to Omaha, they got
actually, you know what? The more I think about it, it's karma. A&M doesn't win on the football field. Well, guess what? You're going to get it on the hardwood if they make it and they beat Penn State.
A&M doesn't want to play Texas. They don't want them coming into the SEC. You know, everything. I saw one fan on a message board saying that Texas A&M should withdraw from the SEC because they've been getting screwed every year. Okay, buddy, pump the brakes.
Where are they going to go? The Conference USA?
I don't know.
The American?
I mean, yeah, swap Houston and A&M.
The ACC?
Well, I think that's one matchup I'm looking forward to if both teams end up winning, just from a rivalry standpoint. And especially if Texas and Houston make it to the Final Four, that'll be really cool to see just for the state as a whole. And we'll see who ends up taking that one. But it's March Madness. It's favorite time of the year. Of course, next weekend we'll be in New Orleans for Wade's wedding. We'll be throwing some bets down because we can legally bet there with our friends over at DraftKings.
Oh no, Chet's never going to leave the state.
You're gonna have to drag me out. Got to catch that 6:30 flight Sunday morning. It's a rough one. But of course, while I'm there, I'll be using if Belly Up's got a promo code with DraftKings. We had one for the Super Bowl. If we get one rolling for March Madness, of course, we'll throw it out there. I'm going to be using it to play some money on my boy Scotty Scheffler to repeat at the Masters. He was a winner at the Players Championship this weekend. But we've been tweeting about it. We've been retweeting it. We'll send it out again. If you want to compete against us and your favorite Belly Up personalities, we do have a bracket challenge going. So we'll be putting that on our Twitter. You head on over there, fill out your bracket, and see if you can take down the best. The best being Tyler. He always does the best in brackets.
I'm not the best. I'm the cursed. I'm the cursed.
That is true. Me and you are cursed. Maybe Wade will have some of that wedding
luck. I'm the worst one.
I did well in the bowl games. I had 30 wins in the bowl games. So
I think the two of us were in the top 10 of the Belly Up bowl game pick 'em.
And the playoffs, but basketball's a whole different animal.
And like I said, it's March Madness. Anything can happen. And in lieu of March Madness
this year.
Oh, I haven't filled out my upset bracket yet. Don't worry, it's coming. But in lieu of March Madness, we had some total madness today in free agency. I mean, it was just like every 20 minutes stuff was blowing up. First, last week, the Panthers traded for the number 1 pick, swapped spaces with the Bears. They traded DJ Moore, which you got to think they're trading for the number one pick to pick a quarterback, right? I mean, I don't know how I feel about them trading their number one wide receiver to pick up a quarterback, but I'm not the one getting paid to make the decisions. But DJ Moore and Justin Fields in Chicago. Tyler, what do you think of that? What do you think of that pairing?
Yeah, I think that's what Justin Fields needs. I mean, Darnell Mooney has been the guy that, it has been, was going to be the wide receiver one. He just hasn't really contributed. They brought in Chase Claypool. He's been hit and miss throughout his career. So I think that's a really good get for get DJ Moore. And Chicago Bears, they really use that number one pick to their advantage. I think that they really fleeced the Panthers. The Panthers gave up way too much, especially for one of these quarterbacks as well. I mean, that can definitely pay off. If one of these quarterbacks that they draft, whoever will be, can hit, then it's definitely a great. Now, I think that, especially if Aaron Rodgers leaves that division, this division can become wide open. Probably the Lions would be the heavy favorites. I think the Bears, though, could definitely be one of those teams that go from worst to first. So I think that the Bears with Justin Fields gets you a target like DJ Moore. He's really been consistent, really underrated receiver. So I really like the trade for Chicago.
I mean, they got pick number 9, pick number 61, first round in 2024, second round in 2025, DJ Moore. Dude, if I'm Chicago, I'm going to grab a running back that'll pair nicely with Justin Fields over at pick 9, maybe pick 61.
They're going defense.
Well, I still think you can get like another playmaker is what I'm saying. You got two pretty high up picks. Does this make Justin Fields a top 5 fantasy quarterback?
I definitely
think opportunity.
Yes.
He's got to prove it.
Yeah, I mean, he did good there at the end of the year with his running. He propelled me to a fantasy championship, but now he's got a wide receiver to throw to. I could see him being a top 5, maybe not a must draft, but if you're sitting there and you need a quarterback, take Justin Fields.
I think if they use the 9th overall pick and go wide receiver, if they get a guy like Jackson Smith and Jigabode, now I know that he missed the whole entire season, but if you pair him up with his old teammate, that would be a must draft fantasy quarterback. You have 2 of the top young receivers.
I mean,
yeah, I would like that pick a lot. I do wish that they maybe sent like Darnell Mooney or Claypool out of Chicago because I think that kind of blocks that pick. I think it's pretty clear they're going to go defense with the first pick. It's a very deep edge class. That's where they need help. So maybe not, though. They did just sign 2 defensive players in free agency today. So they might kind of go with that Jamar Chase-esque pick with Jackson Smith, Najigma getting the confidence between the college quarterback and his receiver. And, at this point, Claypool and Darnell Mooney, they're kind of has-beens. That's not going to hold them back. I just think it kind of creates a log jam.
It worked for the Bengals. Look at Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase. Look at Devontae Smith and Jalen Hurts. Now, granted, they weren't like quarterback wide receiver duos, but coming from Alabama, and Jigbu and Justin Fields, I think it'd be a great pairing, especially with DJ Moore. He'll have the weapons. He's just got to do the throwing.
DJ Moore was a throw-in in that trade. I mean, honestly, the picks were enough. And
for sure.
And DJ Moore, he's not on the same level as some of those big-time receivers we've mentioned, but it's worth a shot, right? I mean, he's definitely more talented than anything you had, but I'm kind of surprised that they got 2 first-rounders and DJ Moore.
Yeah. That seemed like a steal for Chicago. So who are the Panthers taking, Wade? Who are you going after with the number 1 pick?
If you're going to throw that much capital on the line, I think they are going Anthony Richardson because he has the best physical traits. Although I think they might go with CJ Stroud, just an inclination. I don't buy the whole thing that they'll trade out of the pick. I think they've showed their cards, and they can't do that at this point. Someone would have to really, really love a quarterback more than the Panthers love their quarterback that they're not disclosing. So if, the Texans really wanted to get in on Anthony Richardson or CJ Stroud, they would come up and get him. But the team that wins in this is Indianapolis because Bryce Young's going to fall right to him.
Yeah, that's what I was going to ask is if Anthony Richardson is taking number 1, Tyler, do you see the Texans still drafting Bryce Young, or you think they're going after C.J. Stroud? Or either if it's C.J. Stroud taking 1, are the Texans still taking Bryce Young?
Yeah, I think Texans are locked in on Bryce Young, whatever you put it. It like Wade mentioned, I think that whoever the Carolina Panthers don't take, then that opens up the door for the Colts to say that Anthony Richardson goes to the Panthers, Bryce Young goes too, and then Indianapolis is probably dancing in their shoes that they got C.J. Stroud, and that a lot of people are hyping up Anthony Richardson because of his physical talent, but they're not watching the tape. So I think that in the end that there's just so much hype around Anthony Richardson that I think that the Panthers are going to go all in on him. And I think that the Texans are going to get Bryce Young and the Colts are going to get C.J. Stroud.
Well, we can sit here and talk about the draft all we want, but you can go watch the draft live in person. And I don't know if it's offered on SeatGeek, but if you can get draft tickets, I'd go over to SeatGeek. Watching it on TV is fun, but nothing beats watching it in the stadium, hearing Roger Goodell announce your team's pick. Where's the draft at this year?
Kansas City.
Yep. That's right. So you can head on over to Kansas City, the home of the Super Bowl champions, hit up a few bars, open up SeatGeek.com, use promo code BellyUpSports, get some barbecue, use promo code BellyUpSports, get $20 off your first purchase, and maybe get tickets to the draft. If not, get tickets to the preseason game to watch your team's draft pick players. So, but other free agent news, we have Baker Mayfield is floating around in the Twitterverse as possibly going to Tampa Bay. Tyler, do you like the Bake Show going to Tampa Bay, or do you think it's just some competition for young, what's his name from Florida? Kyle Trask.
He's not young anymore.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's better than what they have right now. I think that if you get Baker Mayfield in, then he automatically becomes the second best quarterback in the NFC South division. That isn't so good of quarterbacks. I mean, Atlanta has not Marcus Mariota anymore. He gone.
No, Mariota.
Desmond Ridder is their quarterback. Derek Carr is the Saints guy we talked about on last week's show. Who knows who's going to be Carolina's? Probably Anthony Richardson. He probably gets a start since Sam Darnold's now a Niner. So I definitely think that Baker Mayfield, the way that he looked last season with the Rams in his stint, I think that he can be he could probably be good enough to win that division of how bad it is. So I think it would be a good fit if Baker lands in Tampa.
And he's got some weapons. He's got Mike Evans and Chris Godwin. And, of course, who's their running back's name that really caught
now Rachaad White, now that Lenny's gone.
Yes. Yeah, Lenny's gone. Rachaad White's the running back. I mean, he'd have a good shot in Tampa Bay. Someone else that went on down to Florida, Jalen Ramsey, traded to the Dolphins. The Dolphins' defense is looking a little scary in the corner. They got Xavier Howard, Jalen Ramsey. You got Tyreek Hill on the offense. Now, if you can get your quarterback to actually stay in the game and not get concussion, which they did they signed Mike White to a 2-year deal. So maybe Tua, if he doesn't play, you can throw in old Mike White, who was slinging it in New York, give them a chance to win it. But Wade, how do you feel about Jalen going to Miami?
I think that was a good value. A guy that, he's not a top 3 corner in the NFL anymore, but I would say he's definitely still a top 10 corner. And so is Xavier Howard. So to have both of those guys is really great for Miami. I think what it really did today with them taking Mike White from the Jets was put the pressure on the Jets to go get Aaron Rodgers or whoever the answer is, because you can't tell me that the Jets weren't hoping that Mike White would be the backup next year in New York, because now they're stuck with Zach Wilson.
Yeah.
And it's in their own division too. So Mike White could end up coming back to haunt them in their own division. Pressure's on New York now, I feel like. And the Bills, while they return the most talent, they are kind of running into some salary cap issues. Some would say they might have missed their opportunity. And the Patriots are always pesky, but they shouldn't be contending. So this really does look like Miami's trying to go all in to win that division. And I think Tua can be the guy, but it's just a matter of if he can stay on the field.
Yeah, that's one big thing is his health being a concern. And you mentioned Aaron Rodgers. A report came out today that someone said, "Oh, it's a done deal," and then Adam Schefter said, "No, it's not done yet." So I'm believing Adam Schefter. When he announces it, that's when it's the truth.
Yep.
Everyone wants to be first, and it just let the teams announce it.
Everybody should learn from the Brady retirement last year.
So, are we all on board the Aaron Rodgers to New York Jets? Is that what are we all in agreement? That's what's probably
either that or retirement at this point.
I don't love it, but I do think that it's the best interest for both parties. I mean, I think Green Bay's got a decent quarterback situation with Jordan Love. You want to see how that plays out. If I'm the Jets, I have to go get the best available guy, and right now, that's Rodgers. If I were the Jets, though, I would have preferred to spend less money and gone out and gotten Garoppolo, personally.
Well, you mentioned Jimmy G. He just signed with the Raiders. It was a 3-year, like $38 million a year. Was that the deal, Tyler?
Yeah.
Yeah. So he comes in there as a starter now that Carr's gone. I mean, do you see he's got Devontae Adams, Josh Jacobs, Darren Waller, and then the third one was Hunter Renfrow. They threw that in there on his weapons
Yeah, he was a bust this year.
I was like, I don't know about that. Do you see Jimmy? I mean, what do you give the Raiders' chances of winning the Super Bowl now that Jimmy G's their quarterback?
No, well, they're still in Patrick Mahomes' division, so 0. I'm not doing this again of buying in the hype. I did it with the Chargers. I'm not doing it with the Raiders of Jimmy G. But I do think that this is a very good fit for Jimmy Garoppolo. All the question is, can he stay healthy? I mean, he's been battling through injuries.
That is very true.
Through the past couple of seasons. I mean, this is a very good offense. Josh Jacobs, they franchise tagged him, so he should be back. Devontae Adams, he's going through something on Instagram. I don't know if he likes, the Jimmy G. I don't know. Maybe he misses his buddy Aaron Rodgers or something. I don't know what's going on in his mindset. But they got the weapons. Defense is definitely the main concern for that team. But I think, with the Denver Broncos being a first-year head coach and Sean Payton, you never know what you're really going to get with Denver. So, but I just don't really see them winning this division still. It's the Chiefs division until Patrick Mahomes shows me something else.
So hold on, what's going on with Devontae Adams on Instagram? I missed this.
I don't know. I just saw like a post. I don't know what it meant.
This always happens
around receivers like post something. You never know what it means.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, there's nowhere for him to really go and be with his guy. I mean, Derek Carr, he got traded there, and then Derek Carr gets bounced to New Orleans. New Orleans can't take
then come on, buddy.
Yeah, take a pay cut. Come on down to NOLA.
Look at all these contract restructures we're doing today. We did 3 of them.
Yeah. I don't know where he could go. He could go back to Green Bay and win without Rodgers.
Yeah, whatever. Stick it to him. You mentioned the Chargers and the hype that we bought into last year. Austin Eckler wants a trade. The fantasy king. He does it for the fantasy matchups. He wants a trade. He wants out of LA. What? I didn't see that coming.
Yeah, I think they're going to have a different scheme there in LA this year with the Cowboys offensive coordinator coming over. But the Cowboys do throw to their running backs just as much. So I thought Eckler would kind of take a step back a little bit this year. The age doesn't fool you as much as it does for other 27-year-old running backs because he didn't enter the NFL until he was like 24. So he's still got pretty fresh legs, but I think he should be careful what he's asking for because he is used more than any other running back in the league, especially as a pass catcher. So there's very few situations where I feel like he could personally upgrade. And from a fantasy perspective, anywhere he goes is going to be a downgrade unless the only team that I could see it being an upgrade is if he goes to Cincinnati.
Well, he might end up there. Joe Mixon.
I have one more. That could be an upgrade. Buffalo could also be an option.
They just don't throw it to the backs enough. Sometimes they forget the backs on the field. That's true. It would be an upgrade for them, yes, but for fantasy, I just wouldn't take it.
Yeah, well, you can't really talk about fantasy terms all the time. You got to think
But he's
about
the fantasy
running
running
the
back.
big ring. You got to win about winning
Yeah.
the Super Bowl.
No, he
He's
cares
the
so much about
I know
fantasy football.
he's pretty much like the only player that I see. Everybody else is like ragging on, like, oh, I don't care about your stupid fantasy team. I'm worried about stupid Cordero Patterson on like your 3-win team.
Well, I would rather have. If I'm Austin Eckler, I'd like to stay put where I am.
You're welcome for the rant, Chet. I know that you were unpleased with Mr. Patterson.
Well,
Yes,
he was like
I
your
was not
10th
happy.
round pick. What can you expect?
I expected a repeat of what he did last year. I'm with Wade. If I'm Austin Eckler, I'm staying put. I'm surprised he wanted to trade. But you did mention Cincinnati. Joe Mixon is having some run-ins with kids and Nerf guns, and he's not using a Nerf gun. I don't really know all the details,
He
But
but
it was his
swap and
trainer.
trade.
I thought they debunked that. The trainer was the one that was going off on the kids.
well, Joe Mixon, you might want to find yourself a new trainer. Between him and John Morant, and who was the guy that was just involved in a drive-by? Uh, I can't remember. I sent it to y'all on Twitter.
The former NBA player, Sean Kemp.
Yes, yeah. All these players out here, man, y'all acting a fool. Calm down. Like, I don't know, but if it wasn't Joe Mixon, then okay, he's fine. He'll be playing this.
He's still an
upcoming
aging
season.
running back.
That is true. So Eckler may provide some good backfield help there. Last thing I've got on my list, just announced Jameis Winston is returning to the Saints. I guess he's accepting that backup role and he just wants to ride it out in New Orleans till his career is over. That's my thoughts on that. I mean, he's not going to start over Derek Carr. I mean, they just brought Carr in on a decent sized contract. I don't think they're giving it to 2020 vision Jameis Winston. So
I think that's more of there wasn't really a market for him. That's my really only thought of that he wanted to come back. But this also might close the door on the Saints not drafting a quarterback. You know, now that
which
you have
I hate.
Jameis Winston as your backup, you have Derek Carr. Already have him on a multi-year contract. Did they sign Winston to a multi-year contract, or is it just a 1 year or 2 year deal?
It was I think it was a 1 year deal. Let me check the alert.
So I think that he already has 1 year deal already. So I guess they just extended him to another year. So
Well, they basically cut him and then re-signed
that
him.
probably shuts the door on the Saints drafting a quarterback. That might not happen until next
Also,
year.
just announced the Vikings are signing Marcus Davenport.
Oh, good riddance.
And Patrick Peterson is signing with the Pittsburgh Steelers, which we talked about that a little earlier. I'm looking for the Jameis information.
We can't have it now. We can always.
And you got to think that
I think
Jameis
it's a 1 year deal.
He's from like 90 miles away from New Orleans. He finally settled his life down, got some kids. If he's not going to start, might as well just keep the family where it's at.
I mean, he's a very viable option going on the back. If you ever deal with an injury of Carr, which you don't hope it happens, having a Winston coming off.
He understands the system. You know, he understands the Saints program.
Yeah.
He doesn't have to steal crab legs. They got good seafood in New Orleans. I'm sure they'll just give it to him.
But,
so I mean, it's a win-win for him.
Yeah, but that's my really only concern. I don't think that quarterback has much of a need now going into the offseason.
That is true. That's what I hate. I wanted to see him draft somebody. But, we'll continue to keep everyone updated on the free agent market, on the happenings up until draft night. Of course, we've got Wade and Tyler draft night over on Belly Up Sports YouTube channel. They'll be doing a live show. Our boys will be on there breaking down the last 5 picks in the first round. So make sure you catch them over there. We haven't done it in a few weeks, but it's back. Who got that dog in? Here we go. So, who got that dog in them? This week, presented to you by our friends over at Piper Golf. You can head on over to piper.golf. Use Sports Scramble 10 for 10% off tour quality balls at a non-tour quality price. If you're like us, you like to play golf, you don't like to break the bank when you're buying golf balls, you definitely need to head on over to Piper Golf. Or if you're like us and you lose a lot of golf balls when you're playing golf, you need to head on over to Piper Golf because you can get the best bang for your buck there. We've been using them for a while now. I love them. They have golf balls for all ranges of handicap, 4 different types of golf balls. the low spin, lower flight, lower launch angle makes them a little easier to keep, and also lets you paint those flag sticks. Our friend Wade is recently into the TaylorMade family. Just bought himself some new irons, so hopefully he'll be throwing darts on the green with his Piper golf balls once they come in.
We'll see. We're gonna have the same clubs for our match part 2.
Yes.
It's gonna look like we're sponsored by TaylorMade from 2019.
Uh-oh.
Wade and I both have P790s. So Tyler, you better get with Futch and get you some Titleists. We have a Titleist first TaylorMade matchup going on next time we play.
But we're gonna have Piper golf balls on our side to lift us through.
Yes, that is for sure.
Everybody was playing with paper golf, but yeah,
yes.
It was too good of a deal.
So head on over to Piper.golf, use code SportsScramble10 for 10% off your golf ball needs. So let's get into it. Tyler, who got that dog in him? Who's your pick this week?
Well, I have been showing my LSU bias recently when we're doing this. Who got that dog in him? And that's going to continue. I'm going to go to gymnastics. Haley Bryant with 3 perfect 10s on Friday night's meet against West Virginia. LSU was able to score 198. It's tough to even get 1 perfect 10 to get 3 of them, especially with how the judges be in gymnastics. So Haley Bryant got that dog in him.
I think that's the first time in collegiate gymnastics history that's happened. So
first time in LSU history too. I did it on the vault, the bars, and the floor.
Just
missed the beating. They kind of gotten 4 for 4.
Could have got her a Wendy's 4 for 4 deal there. Did a lot better than I could. Yes, Wade, who got that dog in him for you?
All right, I am going to venture into the World Baseball Classic, which is going on right now. Pretty entertaining environment for baseball. This one is tough because he beat up on the USA last night, but I'm going to go with Joey Meneses. He is the first baseman for the Mexico national team. He didn't make it to the major leagues until last season. Was kind of an afterthought once the Nationals blew everything up, traded away Josh Bell and Juan Soto. Finally got his break, and he hit 320 last year with 14 home runs. And then he continues that success here into the World Baseball Classic, hitting 2 home runs and an epic bat flip in the blowout win over the U.S. He tossed the bat higher than I've ever seen anybody toss the bat. So that's just a dog mentality right there to, have a 20-foot tall bat flip and hit 2 home runs when last year you were playing in AA. So congrats to Joey Meneses.
There you go. My pick is over on the golf course. A lot of people call him a bulldog. He tends to talk to himself when he's out there. He lets his ball hear it when he doesn't hit a good shot. That's for sure. It's Mr. Terrell Hatton. He shot 7 under on the back 9 on Sunday at TPC Sawgrass to vault himself up into second place, shooting I believe it was a Players Championship record of a 29 on the back 9. And he went from making like $200,000 for the tournament to vaulting to $2.3 million. So Terrell Hatton, he got that dog in him. He might be buying a new dog with all that money he's making, but he for sure can afford a 4 for 4 Wendy's biggie bag. So
that's a first class ticket home.
Exactly. So Terrell Hatton, that's my pick for who got that dog in him. And I just mentioned the Players Championship. Let's get into it. And before we get into some golf talk, I gotta let you know, I was watching all of the players out there and what they were wearing this week, and I noticed some of their polos were a little outdated and dingy. And if you ever feel that way while you're on the course, it's time that you get some new ones, okay? And you got to stand out on the course, because when you look good, you feel good, and when you feel good, you play good. So you need to head on over to our friends of the program, friends of the network, Mahler Bros Golf, and check out their signature polos. The polos are comfortable, slim fit that will make you look and feel good when you're golfing with the bros, because everybody knows Saturdays are for the boys. That's when you want to head on to the golf course. So Mahler Bros Golf has a large catalog of polos with designs for those who want a loud design and others for those who want that more subtle look and sleek. Like Futch, he wants the loud design. He wants everybody to know who he is when he's on the course. But myself, I like the sleek look. If you're not into the polos, they also have fun t-shirts, hats, tumblers, and so much more to make your golfing experience much better. If you use code BELLYUP at MahlerBros.com, you get 15% off your order. Let them know they sent you. You can check out their merch for your other Belly Up favorite shows. And like I said, use code BELLYUP at MahlerBros.com for 15% up. Turn heads on the course or wherever you wear the Mahler Bros polos. Mahler Bros Golf. Look good, feel good, you play good. That's always been my motto.
I like that slogan.
Exactly. So I've got some Mahler Bros coming in. I'm going with the sleek look, and I'll get Wade to buy some, or Futch to buy the loud look.
So we're gonna get matching fits for the match part.
I got some loud polos for the cruise. If I would have known about this brand, I would have gotten them through them instead. But stay tuned for my cruise attire.
Exactly. So we might have to get some matching polos for the whack part too.
We could.
But let's get into the Players Championship. We made 3 picks to win. I had Scotty Scheffler. Tyler had Tony Finau. Wade had Sung J M. In the end, Scotty Scheffler ended up winning by 5 strokes, but Wade made himself some money, bet some top 10s on Sung J M, who put himself in the positive. Wade, how'd that go for you?
Yeah, I took your advice, Chet, and put a last-second bet on Scotty Scheffler because I had an odds boost, and then I also had one on Sung J M because it was one of those things where if I put it out there and it happened, I would have been kicking myself. So I didn't really believe in it, so I only put $1 on it, but still the satisfaction of winning. He played some good golf, got off to a rough start, and then he had a really good Friday, Saturday, kind of a rough Sunday, but new fan in me, I thought the dude was like 36. He's like 24. So I don't know.
Sung J M is I believe he's from South Korea.
He's from South Korea, yeah.
So he actually, if he doesn't win a tournament or medal in the Olympics, he has to report back to South Korea and report for his military duty and take 2 years off playing golf. That's happened in the past. I forget.
And that's a lot of pressure.
That happened with Sin Chin Shu on the Texas Rangers a few years ago.
Yeah, so that's who I was thinking of.
Killed his career.
Yeah, there was another golfer. Same thing happened. Came back, was never the same. So I mean, in South Korea, it's a mandatory 2-year of service unless you're an athlete and you win some sort of championship or medal in the Olympics. So it's something to keep an eye on. The pressure is really cooking for Sung J M. He's got to get a win here before, or else they're sending him back to the front lines. Tyler, Tony Finau didn't. He was. I think he was top 25. Didn't win, but it was a positive showing for Tony. What'd you see out there from your guy?
Yeah, like Sung J M, it was a pretty slow start to the weekend. Tony Finau was hovering around 1 over, 2 over par. I was like, is my pick not even going to make the cut? And he was able to make a birdie at the last second to get to even par before Sunday. And like everybody, he went off on Sunday, shot 5 under on the day to get back into the top 25. So, I was expecting more, not going to lie, but I think it's still a good momentum. The next event is going to be the match play, and then you'll have to build up towards the event of the year pretty much in the golf world, the Masters.
So the next event is actually the Valspar Championship.
Must be going ahead then.
I'm not sure who is playing in it this year. I know a lot of players take some time off. Sam Burns won it last year, won it the year before, so he's back-to-back winners. We'll see if he can go for the three-peat. But before we get into the Valspar, I got to talk about my boy Scotty Scheffler. Tyler, I texted you Saturday morning. Scotty always finds a way. He was kind of lurking in like the top 40 Thursday and Friday. Got up there on Friday, and then Saturday morning, I'm like, dude, he's sitting in second place. Like, he finds a way to get it done. And he ends up winning at, I think it was 15 under was the final score. Wins by 5 strokes. Just an all-out dominant performance to put him back at the world number 1, which we don't know what John Rahm would have done. He did withdrew with some stomach illness. He must have ate some bad seafood down there in Florida or something. I don't know.
That chicken salad hit different.
There's a lot. Yeah, it was a pub sub. Cameron, if you're listening, C-Money AZ on Twitch, check him out. If you're listening, you can't have the guys eating pub subs. Chicken salad pub subs are not the way to go. Because the winner gets like $5 million for the Players Championship. It's an elevated event, $25 million purse. That's a lot of money to miss out on because you're having some stomach pains. Okay, I think I would have been out there with some dude wipes on the course, maybe hitting the halfway house, rocking and rolling, making it work.
6-hour round.
Dude, throw it up off the tee box. Just make sure the cameras don't catch me. I'd have been out there playing to win some money. So it must have been some pretty bad stomach pain. He must have had the flu or something. But like I said, Scott is just so dominant. I'm putting money on him to go back-to-back at the Masters. I mean, how can you not? It's going to be Scotty or John Rahm. I mean, the two of them are at the top. Rory. Oh, Tyler thinks differently. Who you got on the Masters, Tyler?
I got my boy Ricky. Ricky Fowler's starting to play consistent golf. So I'm gonna ride with my childhood hero, Ricky Fowler. Gonna don the green jacket. That's my early pick.
Really, with the Masters, it can honestly be anybody if they have knowledge of the golf course. That's why Tiger Woods is so hard not to.
Here we go. It's
started
small
bet on
New Orleans. He's gonna put it down. Watch.
$1. Come on.
Just a small little bet on Tiger because he knows so much about Augusta. He's won so many times there. I know his golf game's not the best right now. The walking's an issue, but dude,
there it is right there for you. If walking's an issue, he's not going to win.
But he's a chance to maybe finish in the top 30.
Yeah, that same problem.
I feel like that's
2019 and he dominated.
Exactly. I mean, it's about course knowledge with the Masters, and Scotty won it last year. He's got a caddy that knows the course. I think he's going to do it again this year. Someone that's worrying me, Rory McIlroy, misses the cut. He has not been performing great lately. Mentioned it was because of his TaylorMade Stealth 2. He hasn't been able to kind of get in a groove with it. Said he wishes he could just use last year's club, but he didn't put all the blame on the club. He said, I'm the golfer. I got to swing better. A little different than what Bryson DeChambeau did last year when he just destroyed Cobra's drivers after having a bad round. But, I mean, Tyler, is Rory starting to show some weakness? I mean, he hasn't been playing great. I know he finished second at the Genesis, but besides that, it's been tough.
Yeah, his drives have really been inconsistent. I mean, he's usually consistent with his driver. We know that he's he can rely on his strength, but he really missed a lot of fairways this week, and he also missed a lot of putts that he usually made. So it was definitely eye-opening to see him. But I did see an article on ESPN that he had a quote saying that his off-the-course duties, with all like the live golf, what's going on, he's been a big advocate as well. That Full Swing series really hinted that the last episode. So, he's really been the face of the PGA Tour. So he's kind of said that's really taken a toll out of his game. So maybe he's not putting in, a lot of work. And I saw a picture of him with Seamus Powers. They were both getting some early work at the Masters. So hopefully I expect that Rory, that with the Masters, he usually tears it up there. So I expect Rory to be back in the mix, but he definitely has to clean up his drives if he wants to be in contention.
That is the only major he hasn't won to complete the career Grand Slam. He's got to go for the Masters, and it's tempting to sprinkle a little bit of money on him there because it's just one of those things that means a lot to him. So
I would have to see one more good round before that to do that.
He's not playing this week in the Valspar Championship. I think the match plays the week after. He'll probably be playing in that. Let me see. PGA
Tour. The Rory tracker said he was, so I was going with him.
We've got the Valero Texas Open is the week before the Masters, so that's not the match play. That's I
guess I'm getting ahead of myself.
Yes, the match play.
These trackers are screwing me up.
I don't know when the match play is. It's usually before the Masters. What?
Yeah, it's probably like the week before.
But the Valero Texas Open is the week before the Masters. I believe Rory will be playing there.
Yeah, I feel like a lot of the big names will play that just so they can get a little warm up.
Yeah, I mean that's pretty typical. But we do have one last thing on the players. We got to talk about Jordan Spieth and his lucky break. He looked like one of us out there. slicing one off into the woods, hits a fan in the kneecap. I mean, damn near broke his knee. Bounces back into the fairway. It would have been a penalty stroke because it was heading for the water. He then eagles the hole to make the cut. Wade, do you think you could have been that lucky to hit one off of somebody back into the fairway? I've seen you hit trees. It doesn't shoot back into the fairway. So I don't know.
It just went backwards.
That's true. Yeah,
that's true. Yeah, that was pretty fortuitous. It's kind of fun though when you're watching a tournament and these guys just effortlessly like flick it up on the green, and then every now and then like you see something like that happen where they shank the ball. And it wasn't even like the guy was really in a crowd. He was like ahead of the pack by himself, and he got hit.
Yeah, he just got sniped.
At first, I thought the ball just dropped like right by his feet. I didn't see it shoot back into the fairway, but that was a really lucky hop for sure. And it looked like the guys shared a laugh, and it was all fun and games. I think he got some signed merchandise and whatnot.
He got a signed glove. I think he got a free ticket to the next day.
I need an ER visit.
What a class act.
Well, Spieth hooked him up because without him, he's not playing the weekend. So Spieth said whatever he's got to do.
You wouldn't make any money. You wouldn't have made any money this weekend if it wasn't for that man's kneecap saving the day.
Yeah, so congratulations to him. I know he's at least got a heck of a story.
Hopefully he didn't tear anything because it looked pretty painful.
Yeah. I saw another clip on there was a media truck, like golf cart, driving down the cart path, and someone hooked the driver left. It landed in the back of the cart, and they drove for like 20 yards before somebody realized it. Yes.
Oh,
they dropped
another
it,
one.
That's where they played.
Another one that I told Chet about, I forget what hole it was, but it was Scott Stallings. He drove it right into the palm tree, and like they were throwing like a water. At first, I thought it was a beer bottle, but it was a water bottle. It was one of those fancy water bottles. It looked like a beer bottle to me, but they have all this money to get all like it's probably some Boss water or something like this.
Yeah.
But they were able to get it down, but it wasn't his golf ball. So this man had to walk all the way back to the tee box and shoot his third shot. And this man was just pissed at this rules official. I just wanted, like, man, I wish we'd get a mic'd up of this, but there are some funny moments at the players.
Yeah. I'm surprised they didn't let him, I guess the rule is you can't drop. You saw it go into the tree.
Well, if it was his ball, they would have done like the 2 club links and drop it from there.
Yeah.
Unplayable by.
Valspar Championship next week. Where is the Valspar Championship? I don't know.
I just called the Paint Can Invitational.
Yes, the Paint Can Invitational. Sam Burns has won it the past 2 years. I'll read you the top 5. You got Justin Thomas plus 1,000, Jordan Spieth plus 1,200, Sam Burns plus 1,500, Matthew Fitzpatrick plus 1,800, Keegan Bradley plus 2,200. You got some good names on this list. I won't ask you to pick a winner, but we'll throw our winner up on Twitter, and maybe we can get another winner. I'm 1 for 1, so let's see if I can go 2 for 2, and keep it rolling. That's what I got on golf. Like I said, when I'm in New Orleans, sprinkle a little money on Scotty, $1 or $2 here on Tiger Woods. Maybe I'll live bet the Sunday winner for the Valspar. We'll see. We'll see if the drinks are flowing and the cash is rolling. I don't know. We'll see what happens. Someone that's been dominant as Scotty Scheffler has been the LSU Tigers baseball team and softball team. Softball team's been kicking butt. But the baseball team,
they were losing last time I saw.
Oh no!
Oh no! They came back and beat South Carolina today.
Good. Yeah, they won the series against South Carolina. They had a doubleheader today.
Very good.
LSU sweeps Samford this weekend. All 3 games were ended in the 7th inning by 10-run rules. Bear Jones is just insane. The freshman DH we've got home run after home run after home run. Dylan Cruz is batting over 500. I mean, Paul Skeens, Thatcher Hurd, Ty Floyd are sitting everybody down left and right. I mean, Paul Skeens is a problem. He is an intimidating dude, and it's hilarious to watch him pitch. People it just goes right by him. Oop, strike 3, you're out. We got UNO on Tuesday, and then the real test is this upcoming weekend, opening weekend for SEC play. Texas A&M. Tyler, how do you feel about the Tigers, and their chances going into SEC play?
Yeah, I think early thoughts. This is definitely, worthy of the preseason hype of being number one. I think that, losing to Iowa, I think that's what woke up this team, what this team really needed. Iowa's probably going to be a good team. They'll probably be a regional host and win the Big Ten. But I think that this, I mean, if they're really the only concern, if you want to be like, this team is not used to playing a full 9 innings, but that's really nothing that they can really
Have
do about it. They're just pouring it on.
We've probably played what, 2 full 9-inning games? 3,
Probably
maybe?
like we played
The loss to Iowa. Texas was a
Kansas
9-inning.
State was a full 9 innings. I think the Western Michigan series. I don't know if we had any. I don't think we agreed to any run rules during that series. Maybe the third game since it was a travel game.
Yeah. So I take away where they agree to not do the run rule. If you get, I mean, we were blowing Western Michigan out.
Yeah. Well.
So that doesn't really count. But when they do the run rule, I feel like we haven't played 9 innings in 3 weeks.
Yeah, it's been a while since this team played a full game, but they'll definitely play a full game. I think that they'll probably run rule UNO. UNO's, they put up 32 against Mississippi Valley State, but Mississippi Valley State is awful, and so is the dang umpire ringing up the dude to end the game.
That's what I want to talk about. That has got to be the worst strike 2 and strike 3 call I've ever seen. Now, strike 2 wasn't a strike, terrible call, but I think strike 3 was full personal vendetta based on how the batter acted after strike 2, which I would have acted that way too. I mean, the ball is a good foot off the plate, almost
it was in the ground.
The catcher had to drop to his knees to get it, and he calls a strike. I mean,
they must have gotten him to admit to it too, because they suspended him indefinitely immediately. Like, that's like straight corruption,
Yeah, I mean, that was just awful. And then the third strike was nowhere near the plate. Strike 3, game's over. But like you said, UNO beat them like 32-6.
So it was tough. Like, you were in the game and lost on some crap calls, and then the next day you get beat by 30.
Yeah, so
it's hard to recover from that.
Tough weekend.
Yes, definitely. And LSU takes them on Tuesday. I want to talk about this lineup that we sent out on Sunday. I know some things have been shifted around with Tommy Tanks being injured at the beginning of the season, playing DH, but it looks like he's back. I mean, the dude is hitting like 2 home runs a game.
I saw that grand slam, and holy cow, that you just knew it was gone.
And then you look at Jones. He hit one 467 feet on Saturday over the scoreboard.
Yeah, the top of the scoreboard is in play.
That is crazy.
In case you're wondering.
he almost had 3 home runs.
Yeah. I mean, these freshmen are insane. So the lineup they sent out Sunday was Kling to lead it off, Trey Morgan second, Dylan Cruz third, Tommy White fourth, and then you got Joe Bear, Thompson, Jones, Neal, and Dugas. I don't see a weak spot in that lineup, defensively or offensively. I mean, Neal's a freshman. He's been great behind the plate. His bat's starting to get hot. Kling in right field had a little bit of a lull a few weeks ago, but he's back and he's hot. I mean, he's the fastest player on the team. Trey Morgan's Trey Morgan. I like to see that he's back at first base. I've always felt more comfortable with him at first. But I get what you want White in the lineup. Dylan Cruz, best player in the country. I did see Florida's got a freshman who has 15 home runs already.
Oh, yeah.
That's something to watch when Florida.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Florida's looking very good.
Yeah, Florida is definitely looking like a team to beat in the SEC.
I would make a couple of changes to this lineup, actually. I agree with the top 4 of Kling, Morgan, Cruz, and White, but I actually would put Dugas behind White because you want also somebody to protect White because, I mean, I think it's also great. You saw Sanford on Sunday. They walk Cruz and they bring up Tommy White and he nukes one over the batter's eye. So yep. I think that's great. I think you put a guy like Dugas behind White. He's very consistent as a hitter. Meanwhile, Joe Bear has been really consistent. He's got the power, but he really strikes out a lot of times.
Yeah, I feel like
play.
Joe Bear
needs somebody.
Yeah, you got to do that in case you have to bench Joe Bear if he gets in a bad slump. you don't want to have to find a 5-hitter.
Yeah,
You want,
but that's the only one I would change is move for Joe Bear all the way down to 9. You still have power at the bottom, and then you have Dugas, a consistent guy that can get on base and protect a guy like Tommy White. Because you want Tommy White, to really not get pitched around like Dylan Cruz does sometimes. So you want to protect your really 2 best hitters in the lineup, and then have Morgan in front of both of those. I mean, this is just a deadly lineup.
Yeah.
does Florida spark like 200 feet to center? Oh my gosh.
I have no idea.
They have 5 guys with over 4 home runs.
They probably have a lot of wind that.
I think they're leading the country in home runs.
Sophomore from Plant, Florida, 6'5", 245. It's a Pete Alonso clone.
So let's see if I can sort this by team.
He's kind of like Tommy White of last year, huh?
Yeah.
3 home runs in 1 game against Cincinnati, 2 home runs in a game against Miami, and 2 home runs this weekend against Siena. So he's had 3 multiple home run games. That's crazy.
Yeah, Florida leads the country with 40 home runs already. LSU's
doing it
gets to SEC play.
LSU's down there at 26 at 22 home runs. South Carolina's 38. Alabama's 34.
South Carolina's been home run city.
Yeah. They have a nice power alley down each line.
I bet I wish there was like hit by pitches. I bet LSU's up there again.
LSU does lead the country in hit by pitches.
I feel like you get like at least 4 guys who get hit by a pitch a game. Especially Dugas. He gets hit like 2 times a game.
I mean, you fix the guy's eyesight, and they're still pegging him. I'm looking at Florida.
Hit as well.
Florida's dropped a few games. They've had a few where they've won by 10, put up a lot of runs, but they opened up the SEC play with Alabama. We opened it up with A&M. I mean, even the only iffy person is Joe Bear, I think, in the lineup because, like you said, Tyler, he's either hitting home runs or he's striking out. And if
you can rotate a left fielder,
exactly. And so you've got Josh Stevenson, Pearson. Both of them can play left field. We have a plethora of people.
Or you could just switch around. You could put back Morgan in left, put Jones in first base, and if you want to put a guy like Kay Beloso, who's been swinging a hot bat.
Yep.
It really just depends. I mean, that's what makes this LSU team so good right now. You have the depth really to put in any guy, platoon any guy like the guys you mentioned in the outfielder, or have a guy like Kay Beloso who's been there for 5 years to really be inserted in the lineup.
Yeah, what's crazy is we're the number 1 team in the nation, and a third of our lineup is freshmen. Like it's insane. They are just there. We got a crazy good freshman.
Kling is really. I think he's going to be the leadoff from now on. He's got the speed. He's shown that he can really get an infield hit, and he also has got the power, so he can do it all. And from there, good luck.
I know it's going to be crazy. Well, if you want to watch our Tigers take on Texas A&M and College Station this week, you can head on over. Well, never mind. You can't head on over to Fanatics, but you can get your gear.
Get your gear for the weekend.
Exactly. If you want to get some LSU baseball gear, you can head on over to Fanatics. You can see the link here if you're watching on YouTube, or you can go to fanatics.n3n6tx.net/sportscramble. Get your team gear. Support the boys. Support us. Everybody wins. Let's talk about to end the show. I want to talk about a little coaching carousel we had going on. Will Wade hired at McNeese State. Do we like it or do we not like it?
I love the hire
for both guys.
Yeah, I mean, it's get Will Wade back in it. If the NCAA brings some scholarship sanctions on it, I don't think McNeese State really cares.
Coming from that, I really don't believe it.
It's a win-win for both sides. Will Wade's going to bring players and recognition to the program at McNeese State. They just opened up a new arena, new facilities. They're not going to be competing for a national championship, but they're going to get put on the map.
They could spoil somebody's party if they get to March Madness for sure. But
and it puts Will Wade back out there. He has a good first season. He's probably on to a bigger job after that. And then it was just announced before the show, Chris Beard to Ole Miss.
Really good hire for them.
His fiance dropped the allegations, the charges. So I don't know if she was forced into that. We won't speculate, but legally, he's not in any trouble. So I guess good hire for Ole Miss there.
Hey, Ole Miss doesn't care.
That is true. It's a little different than Hugh Freeze, but it's they got the PR team to make up for it. And lastly, second to last, we got our NASCAR Neil segment. Let me pull it up. Neil, of course, faithful listener to the show, sent me a good segment. He's got William Byron wins again, which I think is a repeat of last week. Yep, repeat of last week.
That way.
It was a race that was dominated by Kyle Larson and Kevin Harvick, who took the lead on the last run after green flag stops. With 10 laps to go, the caution comes out due to Harrison Burton wrecking. Harvick opted for 4 new tires as opposed to Larson only taking 2. Should have gone with 4. With 3 to go, it comes green over for Ty Gibbs along with Noah Gragson and AJ. I don't even want to try to say his last name. And they bring out the caution, forcing another yellow, taking us to overtime. A lot of overtime races here in NASCAR. Reddick, who took the 4 on the last stop, tried to make a run but could not make it happen. It was important to note that this is the same track that hosts the championship in November. So early bet, William Bryan to win the championship. All 4 Hendrick cars finished in the top 10, with Larson finishing 4, Bowman 9th, Josh Berry subbing in the 9th to finish 10th. Will be interesting to what comes this week with the team having a controlled part being confiscated this weekend and will be examined. Some drama going on in the NASCAR world.
We're shaving some metal.
They could be facing a 100-point and 10 playoff point fine for a similar violation that occurred to RFK last season. Last year, William Bryan won the race in Atlanta. He could pull off 3 in a row. So see what happens next week. Thank you, NASCAR Neil, for that. And to end the show, TMZ segment of the week. Y'all ought to know who it is. It's Tiger Woods breaking up with his girlfriend, sending her on a trip to Florida or wherever, packing her bags. Then she finds out it's really only to get her out of the house so he can have the locks changed because she wouldn't leave after they broke up. Of course, TMZ breaks the story and puts sexual harassment and allegations in the headlines for the clicks. I read a statement today claiming there were no sexual allegations, basically because his ex-girlfriend wanted to break her NDA, and in order for her to break that, it would have to be due to those allegations. There was no mention of those allegations in the court case, so of course just clickbaits. But I'm thinking she wanted to just probably write a book, a tell-all from Tiger's girlfriend, and was trying to get out of that NDA. Now she can't, was suing Tiger for kicking her out of the house, saying she wanted $30 million because they had a oral agreement to let her live there for at least 11 years. That'll hold up in court. So Tiger Woods proving once again he is from the streets. When a girl won't leave the house, send her bags packing on a first-class flight to Punta Cana and change the locks when she gets back. That's all I got for you guys this week. Y'all got anything else?
I think these TMZ stories get greater by the week. So kudos for you finding these.
Yes, of course, it was a huge headline this week. I was all about it, reading it every day. So we appreciate everybody listening. If you could do us a favor, leave us a review on Apple Podcasts, drive us a follow on Twitter at Sports Scramble 4, subscription on our YouTube page at Sports Scramble Podcast. We enjoy doing this. All of that really helps it rocking and rolling. We appreciate all our sponsors, of course, to make it possible. Stay tuned for next week because we got Big Wade's wedding this weekend. We won't be recording an episode, but we have a special episode. Good interview with Paired Up Golf. He traveled around the country playing all the municipal courses and with random pairings. He's got some crazy stories to tell. And if you missed Jacob, he did the interview with me. We'll be releasing one next. Yes, we'll be releasing that one next week. So make sure you check it out. And that's it, guys. I think we sign off. Anything else from y'all?
Yeah, just really excited for the start of March Madness and get to celebrate Wade. So it's setting up to be a fun week.
Exactly. So, Wade, you are muted.
It'd be great to have you guys in town with some sports on in the background, of course, like old times.
Exactly. So we appreciate everybody listening. We hope you have a wonderful week.